Welcome to True Crime to Sleep To. Tonight, we are not opening a file on a gruesome crime or a chilling mystery. Instead, we are exploring a quiet and deeply human puzzle, a moment when one of the world's most brilliant minds simply vanished. This is the story of the 11-day disappearance of Agatha Christie. So, find a comfortable position, settle in, and allow your mind to drift back in time. Case closed, eyes closed. The year is 1926. The world is between wars, and the nights are lit by gas lamps and the quiet hum of early automobiles. In England, Agatha Christie is already a household name. Her detective, the meticulous Hercule Poirot, has captured the imagination of readers everywhere. She is a master of puzzles, a weaver of intricate plots, where order is always, eventually, restored. But in her own life, order was beginning to unravel. That year had been a difficult one. She had lost her mother, an event that left her in a deep state of grief. And then came the blow from which she could not easily recover. Her husband, Archie, a handsome pilot and war hero whom she adored, announced that he was in love with another woman. Her name was Nancy Neely. Archie wanted a divorce. The life Agatha had so carefully built, the quiet country home named Styles, the life with her young daughter, Rosalind, it was all fracturing. The mind that could solve any fictional crime was now faced with a personal reality that had no neat and tidy solution. And so, we come to the evening of Friday, December 3rd. Archie and Agatha had argued. He announced his intention to spend the weekend away with his friends, he said. But Agatha knew he meant with Nancy. Defeated and heartbroken, Agatha went upstairs to kiss her young daughter goodnight. Then she came back down, picked up a pen, and wrote a short note to her secretary, telling her she was going away for a few days. Around 9:45 p.m., Agatha Christie walked out of her front door, stepped into her beloved Morris Cowley car, and drove off alone into the cold, dark night. No one knew where she was going, least of all, it seems, herself. The following morning, the sun rose on a quiet countryside. A local man, a traveler, noticed an abandoned vehicle near a well-known local landmark in Surrey, a deep, eerie body of water known as the Silent Pool. The car was lodged precariously on the grassy slope above a chalk pit. The lights were still on. Inside, the scene was one of quiet disarray. A fur coat was left on the seat. A small suitcase was in the back, containing a few items of clothing, and on the dashboard was an expired driver's license bearing her name. But of Agatha Christie, there was no sign. The police were called, and the news began to spread like wildfire. Agatha Christie, the queen of crime, was missing. The location of the car was immediately unsettling. The Silent Pool had local legends attached to it, stories of tragic endings. The first, most obvious fear was that she had taken her own life. But as the police examined the scene, the clues didn't quite add up. There were no footprints leading from the car to the pool. There was no note and no sign of any struggle. It was as if the driver had simply evaporated. What began as a local police matter soon became a national obsession. The search for Agatha Christie was one of the largest manhunts the country had ever seen. Over 1,000 police officers were assigned to the case, and, more remarkably, an estimated 15,000 civilian volunteers descended on the Surrey countryside. Farmers, shopkeepers, and loyal readers, all combing the woods and hills, calling her name. The Home Secretary put pressure on the police to find the beloved author. For the first time in a British police search, airplanes were used to scan the landscape from above. The silent pool was dredged, its murky depths explored, but it gave up no secrets. The press, of course, was in a frenzy. Headlines posed dramatic questions. Was it murder? Had her husband, the unfaithful Archie, finally snapped? He was questioned extensively, the shadow of suspicion falling heavily upon him. Or, perhaps, it was a publicity stunt, a clever plot by the master plotter herself to sell more books. Some even suggested she was hiding somewhere nearby, watching the chaos unfold, taking notes for her next novel. Her fellow mystery writers even joined the speculation. Dorothy L. Sayers, creator of Lord Peter Wimsey, visited the abandoned car, analyzing the scene like one of her own fictional detectives. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, took Agatha's A Glove to a spirit medium, hoping for a clue from the beyond. But as the days turned into a week, none of these theories brought them any closer to the truth. The trail was cold. The search was fruitless. It seemed that Agatha Christie had authored one final perfect mystery and taken the solution with her. Now, let us leave the frantic search in the south of England and travel nearly 300 miles north to the elegant town of Harrogate, a place of healing waters, grand hotels, and quiet gentility. At the Swan Hydropathic Hotel, a new guest had checked in on Saturday, December 4th, the very morning after Agatha's disappearance. She was a quiet, well-dressed woman who signed the register with the name Mrs. Teresa Neely, the same name as her husband's mistress. For the next 10 days, this Mrs. Neely lived a life of peaceful routine. She ate breakfast in the dining room, she read the newspapers in the lounge, the very papers filled with dramatic headlines about her own disappearance. She spoke to other guests, played bridge in the evenings, and went to the hotel's famous spa for treatments. She bought a new coat, a new dress. She seemed untroubled, calm. But a few people noticed her. One of the hotel's banjo players, Bob Tappan, recognized her from her newspaper photographs. He and his bandmates discussed it. Should they say something? They decided to watch and wait. Finally, after 11 long days, the police were tipped off. On the evening of December 14th, they arrived at the Swan Hotel, and there, in the dining room, they found the missing author. Archie Christie was called, and he traveled north through the night. When he walked into the hotel lounge the next morning, Agatha looked up at him, seemingly confused. She did not appear to know him immediately. She spoke of the woman she believed herself to be, a Mrs. Neely from Cape Town, who was grieving the loss of a child. The official explanation, provided by her family and doctors, was a profound and specific type of amnesia, known as a dissociative fugue, a rare psychological state brought on by extreme trauma or stress, where a person loses their sense of identity and may wander far from home, creating a new life with no memory of their past. When the fugue state ends, the memories of that lost time are often hazy or gone completely. And so, the case was closed. Agatha Christie was found safe. The manhunt was called off. The newspapers published their final dramatic headlines. She never spoke of those 11 days publicly. To the world, it was a closed chapter, a medical condition brought on by immense grief and heartbreak. Of course, the theories remained. Was it truly amnesia? Or was it an elaborate, desperate attempt to win back her husband? Or perhaps to punish him by casting suspicion upon him? We will likely never know for certain. The only mind that held the key was Agatha's herself, and her story remained her own. But what seems most clear is that a woman who spent her life creating order from chaos found herself in a moment so overwhelming that her mind simply sought an escape. A quiet hotel, a new name, a temporary reprieve from a life that had become too painful to bear. The great mystery was not where she was, but why she had to leave. And that is a puzzle no detective can ever truly solve. The case of the missing author was closed, and now it is time for your eyes to close as well. Thank you for listening to True Crime to Sleep To. Rest well.